Is this thing on? How does this thing work? I sure hope it's on, because boy do we have a lot to talk about. The truth is, I really did not want to have to make this video, but I have been given no other choice. I really didn't want things to get ugly. I really wanted to keep things as professional and mature as possible, but unfortunately, that's not always how life works out because of people and how they handle things, because not everyone's going to handle things the way that you would in every situation. And that's a lesson I have definitely learned time and time again. I was in a band from 2017 through 2019, and if you've been following me for a while, or if you just found me recently and have dug through my account, you may already know that. When I departed from the band, I did release a departing statement that can still be found deep in my Instagram, and I announced everything pretty much as if everything was done mutually, and the fact that we were still friends and everything was cool and not to send them any hate and everything like that. And I feel like I handled everything pretty professionally. They chose not to release a statement at all. Now I'm going to have to unfortunately expose a lot of the things that I did not include in that departure statement. So instead of a generic response, I'm going to explain and expose the truth on what really happened with my previous band. I will not be using any specific names, and I will not be including the band's name in this video, just to not give them any more exposure than they already have used for me. I don't feel the need to use names, and I don't want this to come off as slander. All I want this to come off as is the raw truth of everything that actually happened that nobody wants to come out and talk about. So here I am talking about it because of the fact that I was copyright striked for re-releasing the Atlas music video. It was removed by my former band because they legally attacked it, and they sent a YouTube strike on my channel. If you don't know what a YouTube strike is, it is a legal strike against your channel, and if you get 3 strikes on your YouTube channel, you are subject to be terminated from YouTube permanently. Previously, they had their unofficial manager and very close friend that was heavily involved in everything with the band contact me back in February of 2021. He contacted me saying that he wanted me to remove the story highlights on my Instagram of our live show footage. I had no problem with this, so I was like, you know what, it's cool, because I plan to eventually re-upload longer versions of that on my YouTube channel, and I didn't need it in my highlight section of Instagram, and if that made a big deal, cool. I'm easygoing, it's good. So I took it down, and he proceeded to tell me, these are not exact quotes, but he did proceed to give me permission and tell me, which I have screenshot proof of, that I can post the full songs of the EP if I want. I can post any footage or anything containing the music that we made in this band together, as long as I did not include the band name or any of their names. He literally told me that none of them wanted credit, but if I did not credit them and if I did not include the band's name, then we were cool. So I was like, okay, that's a little strange that you guys wouldn't want to be credited for the work that you put into this, but I will honor your wishes if that's what you want. So obviously I proceeded to plan months worth of content from the era of my previous bands that I wanted to show to you guys, and I have so many new followers that have never even heard or seen this because they found me within the recent couple years after the fact that I was in the band and didn't even know about these songs, never heard them, and I was planning on releasing so much extra stuff from behind the scene footage and live show footage and everything, music video, lyric videos, so many different things, just because of the fact that I am still proud of and still happy with the music that we made. I did all the vocal work, all the vocals was done by me, and I was the lyric writer of all 6 songs. Instrumentally, producing, everything else was a few of the others. I did all the vocals and the lyric work. I never claimed to do anything more than that. And I'm still not claiming to do anything more than that. I would never claim to do work that wasn't mine. But we had that understanding and agreement that I have screenshot proof of in Instagram DMs giving me permission to use it. So I was a little bit confused one night when I woke up and all of a sudden I couldn't find the Atlas music video on my YouTube channel when I went to go check the comment sections to start replying to a bunch of you guys that were commenting on it. So I checked my computer and I saw it wasn't on my computer either. And then I went into my channel creator dashboard and saw I received a strike that was sent by the previous band's name. So obviously I was not happy about this. I was reasonably pretty pissed off because I had already been told that it was okay on their own. He reached out to me to tell me that while he told me to remove the other stuff, which I removed off my Instagram. And now, instead of a text message, instead of like a simple, hey, we don't even want you using it, even if they were to go back on their word and they were to tell me, you know, hey, we don't want you using this, everything, they have my number. They know how to find me on social media. And instead, they just chose to go straight to legally attacking me and sending a strike to my channel. You would think after working with guys for a few years that it would be at least decent enough after one of their closest friends and unofficial manager, basically, and videographer, literally gave me permission, telling me on his own it was okay to release everything, that at the very least, they could have given me a text or call, telling me or asking me to remove it because they don't want it up. And then we could have discussed things. But no, instead, the band I was with for 3 years chose to legally attack me instead of reaching out to me through my phone number, which they all have, my Instagram, which they all know, and any other social media platform. I want to make this clear. As far as I know, not every member of this band was wrong to me. But I will come out and say that there was definitely 2 select band members that definitely did me wrong, stabbed me in the back, and did me completely dirty. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. Like I said, I won't be using names, so we'll just call them band member A and band member B. And then for the friend that reached out to me, telling me I had permission for everything, we'll call him their manager, because that's basically what he acted like and what they treated him as in most cases during my time in the band. I contacted band member A as soon as I saw this strike, and I texted him. I have not talked to him in a long time. He hasn't talked to me. I haven't talked to him. So I said, hey, I hope you're doing good. And I asked him, did you or one of the guys send a copyright strike to my channel? Because I had the understanding that it was okay via text messages from manager. I sent him the screenshots to, make sure he knew, in case he didn't know that the manager told me that. He replied back, not with anything like as if he knows me. He replies back like a legal robot, basically saying that, yes, sorry for the misunderstanding. Everything is under the band name's name, and therefore we own the rights to the music video, the lyric videos, and the songs, and blah, 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 and basically just saying a bunch of legal robot crap about how they technically have the copyright over everything, and saying sorry for the miscommunication. So not even treating me like I was the singer in a band that you were a part of for the last 3 years, just acting like you just are like treating me like you're an AI bot, basically. I obviously was not satisfied with that response, and basically proceeded to explain to band member A that I don't understand, why this is a problem, and I never did this in a way to attack you guys. There's no reason of me re-releasing this that would attack you. I don't really see why that's a bad thing for you guys. If anything, I thought it would be better exposure. And if he had a problem with the fact that I didn't credit them, then I gladly would have, because I'm not that type of person. I credit people where it's due, regardless of how they did me. So I would have been willing, and still would be willing, to credit them if it meant me being able to post these music video, lyric videos, and all the songs onto my YouTube channel, to basically have, it added to my vocal portfolio, be able to be new music to those of you that are new to following me, and be able to relive it with those that have known me since I was in the band. So I put my heart and soul and passion into the lyrics that I wrote for all 6 of these songs. I was very proud of, and still am proud of, and still am happy about what we made. I can't say the same for band member A and B, at least, because it seems like they are like ashamed of it now. I don't know. They won't express to me why exactly that they don't want all this out. All they've told me was that they feel like it is a misrepresentation of the band, and we should all strive to put out new content. So that was my response. I am the first person to say that they are all talented musicians. All of them are super insanely talented at their respective instruments. And all the studio work that was put into it, that those had a part of with the producing stuff and everything, that was all them. Like, that, you know, they did an amazing job. And I've always said that when I was in the bands, since I've left the bands, and I still am saying it even after being done dirty by the band. I won't deny talent, and I won't deny credit and work where it's due. So I proceeded to explain about how, you know, happy and proud of I was of this music in the text message, and replying to band member A, and how I put my heart and soul into the lyrics, which you should already know that. We put all this time and work into the music video that we made, and all these other different things, and explain to them that I just don't see what the problem is, and he keeps coming back with me with a bunch of, like, you know, blah, 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 legal stuff, and just saying how they have the rights to things, and basically they don't want it. They don't want it to be up, and they don't endorse a re-release on my YouTube channel. I also did include the fact that they could have reached out to me and asked me first, instead of legally attacking me. That part was, of course, completely ignored. As well as so many other parts of my text messages was completely ignored, and I could tell they just wanted to just basically be like, here's all the legal stuff that we have to are obligated to say to you, and that's about it. I find that very disrespectful and very immature that you can't even own up to text or call me on your own, to just say it to my face, or to say it through the phone at the least, or something like that, instead of just going to legally attacking me without saying a word to me. That just seems very cowardish and very immature for someone who never did anything wrong to them. I'm not trying to be conceited here, but I've never done anything bad or wrong to them. And if I did, I would love for them to tell me what that was that I did to them. Because the way that they are acting, of wanting to disassociate from me and the JCB47 brand and everything from the band, like, they want to disassociate their band from me so much. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand what I did that makes them that much. I have my guesses, that's for sure, but, you know, it just doesn't really make much sense. Just so you guys know, I tried so hard to keep a mature conversation and do everything that I possibly could to try to, you know, let me re-release this music on my YouTube channel, because technically they do own the copyright. The copyright is under the band's name, and band member A has access to the distributor account. I used to have access to that, but the night that they kicked me out of the band, oh yeah, I forgot you guys didn't know about that either. We're gonna get to that very shortly. The night that they kicked me out of the band, they already changed the password to all the social media, the distributor account, everything, without even telling me, just all changed. So I had no access to it. Therefore, band member A has access to that distributor account that has all the copyrights and everything under the band's name, so they then legally own the band's name, because I have no access to it anymore now, all of a sudden, because they just changed the password on me and did all that. And we didn't have any, like, other legal paperwork sorted out, which is now something that I have learned, and I now appreciate that at least I learned my lesson of getting your legal shit worked out when releasing music with a band. Because if you don't, you could get screwed over just like this. No matter how good of friends you think that you may be, you never know how things will turn and how people will turn on you. So, life lesson learned. The music industry cutthroat is confirmed. So anyways, you live and you learn. And I don't make any money off of the Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all those things. I don't make any money off the stream revenue, off of the iTunes purchases, off of any of that. And I was okay and couldn't live with that. All I wanted was to re-release my stuff on my YouTube channel, because they deleted all the music videos and lyric videos off of their channel. So I wanted to, at the very least, re-release it on my channel so that all of you guys could enjoy it, and I could have it in one spot where all, you know, my video music content is on. I explained to band member A that all of this stuff, plus the fact that if you wanted me to turn monetization off because you didn't want me to make money off of the songs that you're claiming are only yours and I apparently had nothing to do with, then I would turn monetization off. If I don't even make a dime off of it, it would still be worth it for me to have the YouTube channel. That should show that I just want it for the love of the music that we made. And I also said that if you wanted me to keep monetization, if I made money off of it, I would send you guys half of the revenue. I would send it to them. I really meant that. Of course, the responses come back. They're not interested. Don't want to do that. I said at the very least, can you retract the copyright strike? Because they could retract it. No. They said no, and we're sorry if you don't understand. I explained to them to try to remind them of some, because I even said, I'm like, I don't think I've ever done anything bad to you guys. I would love them to name one bad thing that I did to them. Like, if you're watching this right now, leave it in the comments. Comment below what I did that was so wrong and bad to you. Like, I genuinely want to know, like, why band member A and B, who should definitely know who I'm talking about, and maybe even the manager, hate me so much. What did I do to you guys? Like, what did I do? Like, I just don't understand. So, anyways, I wrote long text messages. I also wanted to remind them of all the good things, and these are things that I want to tell you guys about stuff that happens. I mean, throughout the band, I came into this band in 2017. It was originally with 4 people. We couldn't find a drummer for a long time, and eventually we found a great drummer. But during the whole recording process, we didn't have the drummer, it was just the 4 of us, and it was mainly band member A, B, and me that were the 3 that are, like, literally physically on the track, or however you want to call it. Basically, all the vocals, obviously, was recorded by me, and band member A and B recorded all the guitar and bass, and even the software drum programming and producing and mixing of it. So, I mean, if you even broke it down to who was literally on the track you are hearing, I am 1/3 of what you are hearing on there. I'm not claiming to be the entire thing, but it just sucks that that you can be screwed over legally like this, even if your voice is literally on the tracks singing and screaming the words that you made, because that is what happened to me. And let this be a lesson to any of you guys that are in bands. Whether you guys are as tight as can be or whatever it may be, make sure you guys have things that are legally, neutrally legally made of, if God forbid something happened to the bands, who has what percentage of rights of everything and stuff, so that nobody is screwed over. Because in this case, I was the one that got screwed over, and I had to learn this the hard way. And, you know, bad things happen, and you just gotta learn lessons from them. Instead of dwelling on it and just beating yourself up over it, you just gotta learn lessons. And I'm taking this as a very hard-learned lesson that is just very unfortunate, and unfortunately affects you guys, because I also explained the fact that I have all these people that love these songs, to listen to them, everything like that. When have you guys seen these band member A, B, or the band account in general really reach out and reply to your comments, keep you guys updated on what's going on with the bands and everything? When have you guys last heard an update from them? You guys can check their account if you know it. Did you guys even remember that you're still following them? Because it may have been that long since they posted, you may have forgotten. In my previous statement when I originally left the band, I said that there was a chance that we may collaborate in the future, all this other stuff. There is no chance of us collaborating in the future. With how they made things, and literally putting every single thing as far away to separate me from them, me and my previous band will never collaborate on anything. They have made that perfectly clear. They want literally nothing to do with me for, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. So, if you want to keep following the band account to maybe get your yearly update from them, if you get that, go right ahead. I won't hold it against you. If you're supporting me, you can support whoever you want. But if you're only following that band in hopes that I might do something with them again or whatever and stuff, then there's no point. I apologize if this video is kind of all over the place and it's really long. If you are watching this still this far and to the end, I really, really, really appreciate it. So let me explain some of my experiences in the band. For one, we never really got to... Band member A and B were great friends before, like, we all got together as a group. They were already super tight, childhood kind of friends, and so was the manager. So the three of them, tight as can be. You know, stepping into everything, I mean, when I first met them, I was like, wow, I really jam out great with them. It just came natural. We literally improvised our first band practice and started writing the words to Atlas, like, from, like, pretty much practically day one. And it was amazing. And I was very excited. Anytime I'm trying to make a band happen, I always have the intention of this being the band for life. Like, I'm not in it for just some, you know, half-assed kind of little hobby thing. Like, I am all in with music. Like, that is my long-term goal. I work with animals, and I love working with animals, but music is the long-term career goal. The working with animals is my income to support that dream. I'll always be doing stuff with animals in the future too, it's to some extent, but I don't want it to always be my, like, main job and main source of income. I want to tour the world. I want to be able to, like, go with people that are, like, my best friends and brothers and write all these lyrics, release all this stuff, meet as many of my supporters and everyone that supports the journey of the bands and everything and stuff and listens to the music as much as I can, see all the different parts of the world and just express my passions on as many stages as I possibly can. So I never had an intention of it coming to an end or anything like that. But when it comes to a band, I mean, it's basically like, just like relationships are hard to handle, a band is like having multiple relationships in one. Fast forward after us working together for some time. We never really hung out that much other than a couple rare occasions. We really never, like, hung out just to, like, hang out, like, go screw around, do something, like, for fun. We went to, like, a Warped Tour together, and, you know, we went out to eat a couple times together, but, like, it wasn't much. And the reason we did it was because we were constantly working and grinding at making the EP happen, because we just wanted to, like, we wanted to go, and I was super on board for that. But my reason for saying this is just, they honestly never really got to know me. Like, honestly, they may think that they know me so well, but they really don't. There's a lot that they don't know about me, and they never really got to, like, see what kind of friend I truly am, because we pretty much were just always working on music and doing music-related things constantly. Over the course of time, it started getting to a point where, you know, I just kind of felt, it kind of felt like, you know, the band and me, if that makes sense. Like, basically, like, they're all getting close and everything was, like, tight-knit, it was cool, and then it just kind of felt like it was me. Like, I was an outsider that was working with them. Like, that's just kind of the vibe I felt. I can't really exactly explain why when it first started, but I just felt it. And if you've ever felt that way in a friend group or a band or anything like that, maybe you can relate. But yeah, and then it just started turning into, we had group chats with the bands, and then a couple of them would start arguing on and off. They'd have they'd argue over, like, very small things. I'm not talking about everyone in the band, but a select one or two of them would just, they would start getting in arguments, and then the group chat started becoming stressful to the point where I'm just like, it got to a point where almost every day I'm like wondering, oh boy, like, are we gonna have to try to diffuse, like, another issue again in the group chat? It became a stressful, annoying thing that I was like, this is so immature and so, like, childish. Like, why are we arguing over, like, literally the smallest, dumbest things? One of the band members definitely would get offended and triggered very easily and had a very short temper. Band member B. There got to a point where band member B specifically started just seeming like he just really didn't like me. And I don't understand why or what I did. But it just got to that point where he'd start petty little arguments over, like, the smallest things. And then when I tried to literally explain what I was trying to say, he'd just get super angry and triggered, and then something like ridiculous, like send me a picture of a burger he's eating and say, look at this juicy burger. For those that don't know, I'm vegan. And I'm just like, what are you, 5? Like, you think I never ate a burger before? I wasn't vegan my whole life. And you think you eating a beef burger is something new? Okay, like 75% of the world eats beef burgers. So like, like, you think I don't have friends that are, you think all my friends are vegan. You think I don't eat with my non-vegan friends. It's just little stupid things like that I'm like, that doesn't offend or trigger me. And then literally he would then be messaging me being like, are you triggered, bro? Bro, are you triggered? When I would just try to literally explain my side of things and not understanding why he's angry. Like, it would just be ridiculous things like that. And it got to a point where, you know, I started just keeping my mouth shut about a lot of stuff because I didn't want there to be more problems. And I felt like the more I talked, the more that band member B would just hate me for like I don't know why. It just started feeling like walking on eggshells and not knowing when you were gonna, like, you know, trigger him and he'd blow up. Because he also got into arguments and big fights with other band members during various times throughout the years, and it just started getting old. It got to a point where then in the recording process, I didn't tell them how to write their guitar parts or their bass parts or their drum parts. I don't tell anyone, you know, that's not my thing. Of course, yeah, we can all put our input in, and we could all, you know, try to compromise on things, and if we have ideas, but I'm not gonna just sit there and tell someone how to, you know, write their bass or guitar part. So they pretty much did everything instrumentally, band member A and B, and then for the EP, and then, you know, when it came to lyric writing and my parts, I always had to, for some reason, run pretty much almost line for line of my lyrics through band member B to make sure it was, like, you know, masculine enough and not too cliche and all these different things. And, like, again, I'm not trying to say that you can't work together, and obviously I don't want to, like, put lyrics that someone in the band, like, hates them, but at the same time, having to, like, the kind of atmosphere it started creating was a toxic, walking on eggshells atmosphere of, ooh, I really like that, oh, I gotta put it through the process of this guy approving it. And it started becoming like it was like everything had to be approved by this guy. And band member A would always be like, oh, well, let's see if band member B likes that first. And I'm like, can I, like, write anything on my own without it having to run through him? Because every guitar strum doesn't get run by me. Not that I want it to, but it's just, it almost seemed like it didn't work both ways. There was that aspect of it that was just very frustrating, annoying. Don't get me wrong, I love all the lyrics that I made and all the lyrics I did write, but at the same time, it was just again, there's a way of being able to, like, compromise with people, and then a way of it almost feeling like a dictatorship. And that's kind of what it started feeling like. And another big red flag that should have been for me was the fact that anytime we'd bring up the origin of the bands, band member B would always refer it as him and band member A's bands. Like it was clear it was their baby and the rest of us were stepping into it. But it was their bands. I say we formed in 2017 because that's when me, 2 guitarists, and a bass player formed together using software drums to program the EP and looking for a drummer. To me, that was the start of the band because that's when we started, you know, getting through everything. Band member A and B started writing and recording demos for all this stuff years and years ago when they were just together on their own. They used a lot of those ideas, but then, like, you know, made them a lot better and modified them to what the EP turned into. So band member B would always refer to the band as starting back when him and band member A were in middle school because that's when they started writing guitar demos and everything like that and general ideas for the instrumentals. It always would just feel very hostile whenever, like, something like that would come up, like, as if he would be triggered the fact that I would say that we formed in 2017, but that's when we formed as a group officially, and then we came out on social media, you know, in 2018, announcing everything and releasing the EP and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, to me, the origin of the bands. Yeah, you had demos before, but you didn't have a group yet. So, you know, I've been running my Instagram since 2016, posting music stuff and building a following on there. But that doesn't mean that I am claiming that that's the origin of my band whenever I have a new band again. Like, anyways, when I would be live streaming on Instagram or talking on my story, the smallest things would trigger band member B, to the point where if I just, in passing conversation, somebody asks me a question about some of my bands, and I'm like, oh yeah, my bassist or my guitarist, blah, blah, blah. Band member B would have a problem with me making that comment. And you're probably wondering, what was the problem? Well, the problem was because I said my guitarist or my bassist as if it's my guitarist. Like, I'm being like they are my you think that's how I meant it? Like, it's just an easy way to say it because you're my guitarist in the band, right? If you said my singer referring to me, I would have no problem with it. So it was just the most petty, immature little small things adding up, and short-temperedness by band member B and band member A just literally just being on autopilot, just letting him do whatever kind of thing. It was just ridiculous, and it just started becoming a toxic, environment, especially after the EP was released. In 2019, we played a couple official shows together, and they were amazing. I loved it. As a vocalist, I wanted to, reserve my voice a little bit for the shows, and I also, we did a lot of heavy stuff. There was a lot of screaming involved, and there would be some practices that, if we're running through the song like 10 times, I'm not going to go full blast hard every single time because you're going to blow your voice. But not everybody understood that because none of them were vocalists, so band member B would think that I was like, half-assing and skimping out and being lazy at band practice sometimes if we wanted to run the song a 5th time and I wasn't going full-blown blast of every single line of every single word. It's not that I'm not practicing. I am practicing, and I'm still went through the movements and the lyrics in my head as the song was going and still did singing and stuff. It's just I'm trying to keep my voice good if we have a show in a few weeks. And for the first show, I did actually go too hard at the previous practice just because I felt that pressure from them that I needed to almost prove myself to them, even though I don't really know why, that I could do the show, even though I have just as much live music experience, if not more, than they do. For that first show, I definitely was not 100% vocally because of how hard I went at the previous practices. And again, just there was no understanding of that. Also, I'm not somebody that needs to be hyped up. I'm not somebody that needs somebody to be like, oh, you're doing a really good job to motivate me. I really don't need that. If anything, I use people throwing dirt in my face like what's happening right now as motivation. So, continue to be better and grow as a person and everything like that. But I felt like there was constantly always compliments to all the band members, distributed except for me. It was always like, oh, this one's doing an amazing job, this one's doing an amazing job, this one's doing an amazing job. But when it came to me, there was never really, or I won't say never, but I'll say rarely ever compliments, especially from band member B. But yeah, he'd be quick to compliment all the others, which is totally good, and they all fully deserve those compliments. And again, I'm not saying I need someone up my ass to compliment me, but it just got to the point where it felt like if they were even going to say anything to me, it was going to be a criticism and never a good thing. I also started getting to the point where it started feeling like I was being hated on by some of them in the bands just because of the fact that I had a following. I thought having a following would have been good because that brings instant fans to the band I'm in. And I was the only one in the band that had built an online presence before this band started. So that carried over, and yeah, majority of our followers and probably our streamers, and still to this day, probably are people that were following me on Instagram first. And I'm not trying to say that to be conceited, but it's true. When you have somebody that's been grinding and working his ass off, which is me, I don't know why I'm speaking in third person, that, I'm since 2016 on Instagram and 2014 on YouTube, I've been building that platform. And that's the reason you're probably watching this video right now, is because I built this platform. And when our shows came, yeah, there would be family members and the occasional friend or two of a couple our band members, but, not to criticize them, but for the most part, the bulk of the crowd that came to our shows was my friends and people that I got to come out. They brought other people, don't get me wrong, but it was mostly just family, and for, if anyone. So, it's just, there was things like that, and it's not my fault that you guys couldn't get other people to come out, and it just started kind of feeling like they felt like I was stealing the spotlight, stealing the show kind of thing. Here's an example of something that happened at our last show that we played. We didn't really get much information from the promoter on if we were getting paid for the show or not, but we honestly didn't care because we just wanted to play shows and for the exposure. And we were kind of new to breaking on to making legit shows happen. So I got us on this show after talking to a promoter in the area that, you know, runs a lot of the shows in this area. We played the show. We had no clue if we were getting paid or not. We just assumed we weren't because they never said anything about pay. And this was our first time doing a show with this promoter. So I always hang around. Anyone that wants to meet me or talk to me, whatever, I am there, like constantly meeting. Needing help to unset or set up, I am there. I'm not the lazy lead singer stereotype. I will help if they want me to help and tell me what to do and everything. I'm more familiar with the drum set, so I usually load and unload the drum set more with help, but if anyone wants me to carry a cab, whatever, I will help them with whatever they want me to help. But at the same time, I do spend a lot of time after the show talking to people because, I mean, I want to talk to everyone who supports me and, you know, just came out and took time and money out of their Friday or Saturday night to come and spend on me and seeing me in the band. So, anyways, I always loved doing that, and I, you know, was probably one of the main ones that go out of my way to really spend time and talk with everyone. And at a certain point, I didn't even know where my band was at this last show after, like, we performed and everything. And the way that they packed up and everything without me even knowing, they could have came up to me and asked me to help, and I gladly would have. But I was talking to friends and fans and people that came out to see us. And eventually I wound up outside talking to people, and the way that I found out that they were leaving after not seeing them for a while was the whole band was driving away while I was outside talking to supporters. And as they're driving, band member B goes and in a joking, mocking way goes, "Oh my God, is that Joseph?" or something along the lines of that. Kind of like, you know, being sarcastic. I know some of you guys might be like, "Oh, he was just joking," but from the way that I had been getting the vibes and being treated by this band member, it just, it was more of a jab. Like, I could tell. And my gut doesn't really fail me with that. And it just tells me how he views it versus how I view it. I'm not viewing it as, oh, like, you know, I'm Mr. Big Shot, everyone wants to meet me and everything. People would probably want to meet you too if you took the time to go and socialize a little bit. You're not very approachable when you're just like complaining about wanting to leave already and not listening to the other bands. That was another problem I had, was there were select band members that just were not supportive of wanting to support other local bands in the scene. And I'm like, how do you expect people to support us if we're not supporting some people also? And I'm a strong believer in, you know, mutually supporting each other as a local community. There would be times that they would be sitting there and just like whispering to each other, roasting and tearing apart bands or whatever and stuff. Band member B and A mostly, and the manager. And it was just like, okay, like, you know, like they're doing what they love. Like, let them do what they love. I mean, you can have your opinion, you don't have to like them, but it's like, and you can make a comment or two, I get, you're close friends, whatever, but like to continually just keep ripping into them and then be all like, oh, like you don't want to waste your time, kind of like, you know, hanging around. Like, it's just, it's not the kind of people that I want to associate myself with. It's just, you know, sad to kind of learn more and more that they were like that as time went on. So anyways, yeah, so that's how I found out that my band left, was they didn't even say goodbye to me or many people that were there. They just packed their stuff up at one point and left and mocked me and my fans as they were driving away. I stayed to the end of the night, and eventually all my friends left one by one because it was a later show, and it was after midnight by the time the last band was on. I went up to the promoter and thanked him for putting us on the show and for giving us the opportunity, and I really appreciate it. No one else in the band bothered to even do that, but I'm a person that likes to establish connections, make new friendships, and I see obviously mutual value in a connection with a promoter, and I definitely was very grateful for being able to play at this venue that it was the first time I ever got to play it at the time. At the same venue that I seen bands like I See Stars and Attila play on, I got to play on because this promoter let us on when we were a nobody in the scene. So I really appreciate that. Then he told me, "Are you staying to the end?" And and where's your band? And I said, "Oh, my band left." And he's like, "Well, if you don't stay at the end of the show, you don't get paid." That's when I found out that we were getting paid. And I said, "Well, I can stay if that counts." And he said, "Okay." So I stayed to the end of the night by myself for another 45 minutes to an hour. Of course, I was extremely drained and tired by this time. I stayed at the end of the night, got the money, and first thing I did was call band member A and tell them that we got paid and everything and stuff. Now, I'm also telling you guys this to show you what kind of person I am. I'm not saying that I deserve a medal award over this. Just so you guys know the kind of person I am, which is what I reminded band member A in the text messages when we were disputing about the fact that he took down the Atlas music video and legally attacked me. I was like, please remember the time that also I could have easily just pocketed that money and you guys wouldn't have known a thing because you didn't even know the money even existed. You know, the thing is that before this show happens, I left a lot of my stuff and equipment at band member A's house. Basically, he told me to like take a lot of stuff back home with me after our last practice, and that was kind of a sign right there that I kind of already felt the divide, and I felt it even further. Like, I'm just like, he wants me to take all my stuff home for no really apparent reason. Kind of was starting to get the vibe already that they didn't really want me to be in the band. We didn't see each other for a while after that show, and there was very not much talk in the chat, in the band group chat, and I already got the vibe. Like, honestly, I kind of figured where they were going with this. Me and band member A and B and the manager there just was not a lot of clicking personality-wise. There was a lot of differences. I mean, they're very, very, very different people than me. Talented as hell musically. It's just a shame that they're so immature and handle things the way that they do, and still are. And which has showed me now in recent time that they still have not changed. So, band member A called for a band meeting at some point. I was like, okay. I remember knowing already, like, I'm just like, they don't want me in the bands. That's what this band meeting is about. Like, I could already just tell. My gut doesn't usually lie to me. I just knew. I went over from the second they walked out. It was just such a dead giveaway. And it just, hey, dude. And I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm like, they don't want me in the band anymore. We sat down. It was so quiet. The whole energy was just off and just different than it ever had been. And band member A proceeded to basically explain how they want to go in a different direction. They know that I want to be versatile, both singing and screaming, and they only want unclean screaming vocals on their upcoming music. And they know that's not what I want, so this probably wouldn't be working out, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I don't have another band, and unless you have another singer, you don't have another singer. So even if you made it official I wasn't in the band anymore, but I still worked with you guys, so you guys can further the music along, since you obviously like my screams, and obviously I still like your music, even if it's not, like, even if I wanted to be more diversified, I obviously still like the heavy stuff that they make. So I was like, why not just, like, I'm glad you're open about it now, but why not just, you're actively looking for a singer and I actively look for a band, and in the meantime, we continue recording stuff together so that at least it's more material for the band and more stuff to add to my vocal portfolio. And they were trying every reason to just suppress that and just, oh yeah, maybe in the future and blah, blah, blah. And band member A and B proceeded to basically say so many lies. They began to tell me lie after lie straight to my face. The other two band members were pretty much completely silent. Wait, where the fuck did my vest go? Okay. As I was saying, so they told me things such as they still want to be friends with me. This doesn't mean I still can't come over for band practices and hang with them. They still want to go to concerts and shows with me. they'll still help me record vocal covers for my YouTube channel and produce stuff for me. Like, they'll, you know, work with me in that aspect. They didn't close the door completely on me possibly collaborating with them in the future, which is why I said in my original departure statements what I said. They even told me, which I knew this was bullshit, but they even told me they would help me find another band. Come on. So yes, it wasn't really a mutual departure, but once they started saying everything they said and showing their true colors more and more, it kind of became a mutual departure of me not wanting to be with them anymore. But initially, it was them kicking me out of the band. They kicked me out of the previous bands for the generic going in a different direction, even though I was literally saying I would still unofficially be your vocalist till you got another one. And they didn't want to take me up on that. So they really had more underlying reasons for not wanting me in the band, whether it's just because they just hated me, or I think maybe a lot of reason is to do with the fact that they didn't like that the spotlight was being taken away from band member A and B and put on me unintentionally. But I mean, the lead vocalist and the frontman is definitely in the spotlight, and I always credited and shouted out, even at all our shows showing my highlights. I showed also highlights and shouting out all my guitar players, bass player, and the drummer, always explaining how amazing and talented they are, talking about on live streams, shouting out my stories and everything like that. I never was trying to turn it into the JCV47 show, which is what I felt like was one of the big reasons why they didn't want to continue working with me, is because they started seeing that the majority of their following on social media and people listening to stuff and coming to the shows was because of me, and I guess not everybody's ego could handle that. And it's not my fault that I worked my ass off by myself with no help to build the following and platform that I have created today, and I'm constantly trying to build further and further and further up. It's not my fault that they didn't do the same thing when they were looking for a band. And I thought that that would be good because it's growth and success for all of us. Because as I rise higher and higher with a band, I want everyone to succeed with me. I want to bring them to the top with me. Why do you think that I always am making friends with local musicians and trying to support and all these different things? Because I want all of us to succeed together that have genuine, authentic hearts and real awesome talent. And I guess band member A and B just don't feel the same way. On that final day that they kicked me out, after they already told me, I brought the money. This is the first time I saw them since the last show we played. I brought the gig money that was their cut. I could have been like, fuck you guys, I'm out, and just not even spoken about the money. They were going to say to keep the money, but no, that's not the kind of person I am. You guys earned the money. So I gave everybody their cut on the day they were telling me they kicked me out. If that doesn't at least tell you somewhat of the person that I am in this situation with this band, then I don't know. I give credit, I give payment, I give whatever where it's due, regardless of how they do me. That's the person I am. I'm a man of my word. I'm honest. So I reminded band member A of so many other things that I did, and not making a big deal of the fact that I don't make a dime off of any of these songs, even though majority of the Spotify streams and iTunes purchases and things like that are probably from a lot of my friends and a lot of you guys that follow me on Instagram and YouTube. But I didn't make a big deal of that. But I can't even have the music and the songs on my YouTube channel for free. I tried talking, and I tried everything I could to avoid making this video and to try to have this music up for you guys and for myself. And obviously, I'm making this video, so it's not gonna happen. They are stuck on that, did not retract the copyright strike. I already got the copyright strike situated though, so in August, the copyright strike will expire for my channel, so I'm good on that. But I cannot re-upload the music video of Atlas, the lyric videos for Colonizer War, or any of the songs on the entire 6-song EP. They said that I have permission to post live show footage, and that all I need is the permission from the person who recorded the show footage, and that's my family and friends, because you think that when they had the manager videographing and taking a bunch of pictures, you think he got much of me? No. He got a few good pictures of me, don't get me wrong, from the first show, but other than that, no. We were basically, it's funny, they treated me like I was your typical stuck-up, cocky, all-about-me lead singer, when really the lead singer syndrome of the bands was on band member A and B instead of me. The way that they acted, especially band member B, and band member A would just kind of go along with it and just kind of let him do whatever and be kind of like the sheep. Band member A was like the unofficial leader that they all looked to as a leader for some reason. I don't know, because he was pretty much just a sheep to band member B and listening to everything that he would do, and I don't know if he's scared of him or just because they've been best friends for a long time. But it's sad how things end up, and it's sad that I have to make this video, and I know that they're going to try to turn this around and make me the enemy and be like, oh my gosh, you know, he's slandering us. And guys, honestly, I'm just telling you the truth on how I feel and what actually happened, and I wouldn't have made this video if you guys would have just let me use the songs on my YouTube channel. That's all I was asking for, and I don't think that's much. I mean, if anything, it would have been smart exposure for you guys, for me to credit all of you guys, and if the thing blows up on my channel, that's good for everybody, because it's more exposure for all of us. But obviously, band member A and B specifically are ashamed of the music that we made and are not proud of it just because maybe I'm on it. I don't know what their reasoning is, and they don't care at the expense of you guys enjoying it, and that pisses me off. That aspect of it really pisses me off because it's out of my control, and I told you guys I was going to be re-releasing this because I had permission that was false information, obviously, since now they attacked me legally and told me what they told me. So they've showed their true colors, and I sent one final text to band member A after he told me everything, that they're basically not budging on anything, won't remove the copyright strike, won't let me post the music, and yeah, sorry if I don't understand why. So I sent the text message back saying that, in other words, like, thank you for showing me your true colors finally after all this time that you never showed me before in the band, and I hope that they're happy with the decisions they've made, and now they are literally proving that everything they said that final night when they kicked me out of the band was complete and utter bullshit. It was fake. They were fake to my face. Yet they want to legally attack me behind a computer screen, and I can barely get one of them to text me back because it took almost like a day to get a reply back each time, and it took actually like 4 or 5 days for one response. That's just so immature and cowardly. Like, at least say it to me on the phone or to my face, like, of how you guys really feel. And obviously you guys never did. And then you guys don't even want to make things better. You guys just want to make things worse when I never did anything to you guys. I just don't understand that, but to each their own. They made their choice. You guys can make your choice on who you want to continue supporting. If they plan on continuing to do music, I don't know, because, you know, there probably hasn't been an update on their page in like over a year, even though they said there was going to be an update soon, and over a year later, I'm pretty sure there's still no update. They haven't even told you that I departed from the band, probably because of the fact that they didn't really have a reason to kick me out of the bands, and they knew I was making a statement, so they said, probably in their heads, I'm guessing, that majority of the following of the band is my followers, so I'm pretty much covering the whole thing. But essentially, to me, that's pretty unprofessional to not even make a statement when you're kicking out your lead singer as to why, or at least that you're doing it in the first place. Like, at least man up and, you know, say what you're doing. And how are you guys moving forward? Like, are you gonna let the people that want to hear more from my previous bands, like, people that still want to hear more, if there's still people out there that want to, like, are you gonna tell them? Because I like to keep my supporters and followers up to date and be interactive with them, because I appreciate and care about each and every single fucking one of you guys. And I mean, if I was a fan of this band, I would definitely not feel like I was a valued supporter. But I hope that if you're supporting me and following me, that you feel valued by me, because I really appreciate it. And I'm very, very sorry that this is out of my control and I can't release these songs on my YouTube channel. While I'm recording this, everything is still streamable on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon, everything like that. So jam away. Doesn't make me money, but you know what? If you want to hear my lyrics and all that kind of stuff, that's awesome. I can also always at least post all the lyrics for the songs, even if I can't post it with the songs, just so you guys know what all the lyrics are, because again, like I said, I put my heart and soul into that stuff. By all means, continue jamming out to the songs that we made. I can't wait till I have my own band where I can come on the scene with a lot more new stuff, but in the meantime, feel free to jam out to that. Do what you guys will with this video, but I wanted to be upfront and completely honest with you guys, because I unfortunately had no other choice to, because I am forced to not now basically use at least half or more than half of months of content I had planned for you guys on Instagram and YouTube. So anyways, that's life. That's the real story. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments section. And if you know somebody that was a fan of my old band that doesn't know about this, feel free to tag them in the comments too, so that they're aware. And I'm terribly sorry for all this, but life will move on, and I have bigger and better things planned in the future anyway, and I know the future is bright, and I'm super happy and excited for everything that I have in the works, and for once I'm able to release original music with my own bands in the future. That will be new stuff that I will not make this legal mistake ever again. And yeah, I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thank you. If you stayed to the end of this video, thank you so much. Like, you're amazing. And I really, really, really appreciate that. I can't express that enough. Turn those notifications on YouTube and Instagram. I'm posting this on both of those, so whichever one you're watching on. Make sure you're followed on Instagram at JCV47Music and have notifications on, or YouTube, JCV47. Subscribe, the notifications on. And yeah, leaving comments, likes, sharing videos, everything like that really helps me a shit ton. So I would appreciate the hell out of that if you guys continue doing that. Thank you so much for listening to this. And I will see you guys in the comments and on future content. The future is bright. Can't wait to show you guys all I have in store, because this is just the beginning.